In three, two, one. What's going on, folks? Your guy Tommy Gahan here for Ice Cold Sports, America's sports show. Happy to be back with you on kind of a dreary day here in Gainesville, but every day is a beautiful day when you are alive. Here with me is my very good friend, Mr. Anthony Pitre, talking today about football and talking about starting off. We'll just hop right into it. His New York Giants, who had a tough day last Saturday. What are your thoughts on that game, Anthony?
Yeah, Tommy, I'm glad to be back on the podcast. I wish we didn't have to talk about this game.
Yeah,
38-7. We got ran out of the building. Not even at halftime. If I was there, I would have packed up my bags, went to Wawa, grabbed my sandwich, and head home back to New York. This game was brutal. Daniel Jones was being harassed the entire game. They couldn't stop the run game. Kenneth Gainwell was going off for the Eagles. Miles Sanders. I mean, 268 rushing yards. I believe that's the second most in franchise history in the postseason for the Eagles. It was embarrassing.
I was there. I was watching the game with you at your apartment. It was embarrassing. It
Sure.
was an absolute. I mean, it was kind of. I mean, I thought they were going to stay in it, and it just they got steamrolled. That's the only way you can really put it. The offense couldn't do anything, and then the Eagles did basically everything they wanted. Jalen Hurts was Jalen Hurts as usual, although the rushing game really was on display as well. Uh, Moving into the offseason, do you think that the Giants are going to have to make a couple decisions here?
Big ones.
Uh, they're going to have to decide the future of Danny Dimes, although you've said you're never going to call him that,
No.
and Saquon Barkley.
Now, as much as I
And
love Daniel Jones, I cannot call him that. It throws weren't all there. No, it wasn't all his fault. Um, you can't lean it all on Barkley. He did bust a run at the end. It wasn't worth much, but it was great to see the pride. All around, it just didn't look like the Giants showed up in that game. Going into the offseason, you have to be proud and happy with that coaching staff. They have the pieces. Is Daniel
definitely,
Jones the franchise quarterback? I don't know that answer. A lot of Giants fans will say yes, no, back and forth. Earlier in the season, it was absolutely not. All of a sudden, he posts a career year, wins the wild card game against the Vikings, who I thought the Vikings were frauds anyway. And now you face the Eagles, who is just a totally more complete team. There was no way they withstood a chance in that game. I think they're going to try and re-sign Daniel Jones. They need to re-sign Jones and Barkley if they want any chance of coming back to where they were this year. But is the wild card divisional round? Is the divisional round Daniel Jones' ceiling? That's what we have to wonder here.
yeah. I mean, I've seen very few times of a quarterback go so high in people's estimation to so low that we've seen with Daniel Jones the last couple weeks. Because against after the Vikings, he was the toast of the town. Everyone was
Oh
talking
yeah.
about him, saying, "Well, Danny Dimes could be on the same career path trajectory as Eli," and then next week it's the man is trash. I think it probably falls somewhere near the middle. Honestly, if I were a Giants fan, I'd be more interested in bringing back Saquon than bringing back Daniel Jones. Although it's going to end up probably being that it's more likely they bring back Daniel Jones than they bring back Saquon. If I would hope that they would bring back both, but at the same time, you don't know. It's a tough situation there,
Yeah.
especially after a lot of good feelings on the season were kind of crushed a little bit with a tough loss against a superior opponent. But you're
Yeah.
definitely right about the coaching staff. Coaching staff is great. The coaching staff is going to be your bedrock for the future.
This is our staff for the future. This is our staff for the future. Brian Dable, Billy Bean, Brandon, what's his name? Bean made the difference. Or Joe Shane made the difference. I do not think much is going to change going into the offseason. I think they have to draft a wide receiver, whether it's the third or fourth round. They have to draft a wide receiver just to help them out a bit. You may be even looking at drafting a backup quarterback. The Giants don't necessarily have the best backup quarterback in Tyrod Taylor right now. Getting a bit old in age. He can still perform possibly to the level of a starter. not exactly up to par with a lot of other starters, maybe like a Tyler Huntley at some points. You have to think, would they draft a quarterback? Maybe Anthony Richardson from University of Florida, one of my favorite quarterbacks. I mean, Daniel Jones, I would keep him for the next year. He's earned one more season. He's earned one more season in New York. Whether that's going to turn into a dumpster fire after next season, we'll find out. If he doesn't make the playoffs, is he automatically going to be gone? Is that
Oh
it for
boy,
Giants fans? Or does he get another season? So you wonder how long are Giants. I mean, the market in New York, it just doesn't last long
you're
if you don't.
right. You're right. I mean, Richardson, I think, is a really interesting option. Later, he probably will be available somewhere near uh, where the Giants are picking, and they can trade up if he's looks like he's going to go a little bit higher. It's going to be an interesting offseason. I think that there's a lot of positives to be taken into place, but at the same time, the receiving core is a major place of improvement. Moving on to the teams that did win this weekend or last weekend going into this weekend. First, 49ers Eagles. This feels like a very strange type of game because the 49ers they looked so good that first game, then they looked kind of off a little bit. They kind of had a bit of a tough time against the Cowboys, who have a really great defense. And now you go another really good defense, and you have to go to Philly. Uh, Philly's favored by 2.5. I personally, I don't see. I think the Eagles run away with it. I think the Eagles are the team to beat in the NFC by a mile, and I think that if the 49ers win, I think it'll be a major upset.
Yeah, I mean, 2.5 point favorites, they kind of have to be. I mean, they have home field. Philadelphia is going to be rocking for this game. It's going to be beautiful out. I think it's around 40 degrees, clear. See no issues with weather. It could be an offensive shootout in the first half at least. Like you said, it could run away. But then again, the 49ers defense is very good. You have to remember that Jalen Hurts has beaten the Giants 3 of his last 6 games, and he's only won one game against a playoff team since early on in the season. I mean, Jalen Hurts was out with that shoulder injury. You have to wonder, is he fully healthy? Last game, he kind of answered those questions. Aaron out first play to Devonta Smith, killed the Giants, obviously. But how much is that saying when they beat the Giants 38-7? Jalen Hurts might be a bit overrated, in my opinion, just
See, that's
because of
easy to that's just that feels like
and
you can't
there's
say that after watching that last game. You can't say he's overrated. I get
and
it. I get the Giants might not be amazing, but I mean, he still has been just so good this season. And you're right, he might come back down to earth against a really good defense in San Francisco. But man, they just seem to have weapons on weapons. They seem to have everything clicking. On the flip side, McCaffrey's a little beat up. That could be a tough thing, but you have so many weapons there in San Francisco I mean, their offense will live and die with Brock Purdy. And while I think Brock Purdy is the guy next year for them, I think that he is a serviceable duty, someone who can run that offense to perfection. Especially compared to Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo, who are kind of are always very meh and always kind of have not. Yeah, I get we haven't seen much of Trey Lance, but neither have really impressed me as much as Brock Purdy has. I I just don't think even if in the first half it ends up being an offensive kind of thing, I think the Eagles end up running rampant in the second half and,
I,
and make
I
it
don't think that
an easy
I
win.
don't I don't think they're gonna run away with this game. Like I said, the Eagles haven't won a game against a playoff team since week 6. Mr. Irrelevant is now very relevant, but every game I feel like I'm always wondering, even myself, when is it gonna come to that point where Brock Purdy starts to look like Brock Purdy? I think we have to realize maybe this is Brock Purdy. This is
No,
who
he
he
is. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying that this is like some pumpkin, like the carrot is turning into a pumpkin. What I'm
maybe
saying
it's not a
is
miracle run. Maybe it's not.
that maybe it's not a miracle run, and maybe the Eagles are just a better team. And going to Philly is really difficult this time of year, and the Eagles are probably a more complete team overall. I
Yeah.
think that's just the main thing. I just think that the 49ers haven't shown. I mean, that first game they looked really good at the second half. And the last game they looked all right. They seemed like they could barely get, they
Yeah,
didn't seem like they were 100. They even had everything going against the Cowboys, and now they have to face a team that's probably twice as good as the Cowboys are.
yeah, and don't get me wrong, I'm not anti-Eagles in this game. I'm not even anti-Eagles in general. I think Jalen Hurts is a very good quarterback. He did pose, what was it, a 13-1 or 14-1 record. So you can't really deny that. He's an MVP candidate, along with Mahomes, Burrow, even Justin Jefferson. But you have to wonder. I do think the 49ers are going to struggle a bit. I mean, they cannot win this game against the Eagles in Philadelphia with field goals. They really struggled against the Cowboys. And the Cowboys do have a very good defense. Is it better than the Eagles? I don't know. They did apply the pressure really well.
I
They
mean,
did apply.
if the Cowboys offense had anything going at all, they would have, I think, won that game. And it was all based on on some poor performances. Dak Prescott did not look his greatest. It'll be interesting to watch in this game. I like the Eagles a lot.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take the 49ers slightly. I'll take them by 2, 3 points. Again, road underdogs. This is gonna be my pick. Uh, Listen, I could be totally wrong. Philadelphia could prove me wrong, come out and steamroll them, win the Super Bowl over Mahomes or Burrow. And I'd like to see that happen. And if that really does happen, there's no discussion that Jalen Hurts is their guy.
Hey, it's I'll defer to you on that, but it just seems I am not I I disagree, and I think you might be a little biased as a Giants fan, but
And
I'm
we can
gonna
go on, and we
take
can
your
end
word
the
for it.
we can end the discussion. But Purdy, I know he struggled last game, but he did come through and he needed to. I
You're right.
mean,
You're right.
given Kittle,
You're not
Kittle did
wrong.
make an incredible catch at the end. Kittle did make an incredible catch. McCaffrey did run it in. That was essentially the only real touchdown they scored. You're right. We'll have to see. The 49ers, no doubt. I have no doubt the 49ers will come out. If they don't come out strong enough, the Eagles are going to blow them out in this game because they cannot keep up.
Next game, Bengals at Chiefs. This will be at 6:30 on Sunday. Cincinnati is favored by 1, which is very rare for a away team to be favored in Kansas City these days. Uh, this feels, I mean, Patrick Mahomes is not Patrick Mahomes at the moment with his the ankle injury he suffered last game, where he just got, it looked so bad. He didn't look bad, it didn't look terrible after the injury, but he did not look like himself. Uh, he's going to play. He says he's ready to play, but you wonder what percentage he's going to be at. Relatively low compared to the Bengals, who just put an absolute beatdown on the Bills in Buffalo in the snow. They beat Buffalo convincingly, uh, 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 and basically popped the balloon that was the neutral site AFC Championship game. Now they go to
Send those refunds.
they got the Joe Burrow's cocky. He's ready. There's one man who's backs it up. It is Joe Burrow. The only thing I would be concerned for him is that currently has 3 different offensive linemen. His center, Alex Karras, his guard, uh, Ted Karras, Alex Kappa, his guard, and his offensive tackle, Jonah Williams, are all questionable for this game. And for a guy who gets sacked so much and a guy who has had a lot of issues with the offensive line in the last couple of years, he can't really afford that kind of instability. So that's something to watch for. At the same time, the Chiefs are going to be on such a diminished level. What do you think that the Chiefs can keep up in this game?
Well, first of all, Mahomes is, as we say in football, he's injured, not hurt. There is no question in my mind that he is gonna not. I mean, he is playing in this game. There is
Of
absolutely
course he is. Yes, yes,
no
definitely.
doubt about it. It's Patrick Mahomes. He's playing in this game. He's the difference maker. He did suffer that high ankle sprain in that game early on. Made me nervous. Game ended kind of close against the Jaguars at home in Arrowhead. Listen, Joe Burrow is 3-0 against Patrick Mahomes. I have to bring it up. He's 3-0.
Wait,
He's
he is?
He's 3-0 against Patrick Mahomes. And I'll even pull up the stats in front of me. His stats are unreal. He averages 327 yards a game, while Mahomes averaged 252 yards a game when they play each other. Burrow is 8-1 touchdown to interception ratio, while Mahomes is 6-2. Not much of a difference there. I think when you see there's not much of a difference there, it just shows Joe Burrow is so stone cold when he comes
Mm-hmm.
to environments. I mean, the dude does not have any stress or worry in the world when he gets on the field. At least
Ice in
does
his
show
veins.
he really does have ice in his veins. But you got to remember, this is Patrick Mahomes. Kansas City is 13-1 when they rush for 70 or more in general this past season. But guess who that one losses to? 13-1, the only losses to the Bengals when they rush for at least 70 or more. So there is a lot of stats we could look at for this game, but it's really just how hurt is Patrick Mahomes? As I said, how injured is he? Just like you said. And is Joe Burrow going to show up and be Joe Cool, the same Joe we've seen? I took him as my underdogs last week, and what did they do? They went into Buffalo and destroyed them. Did I know it was going to be that bad? No. But did they make it even worse than I thought? Yeah, in a good way. Jamar Chase came out right away in the snow. It looks like they tried to put on as many points as they could before the snow came down.
I mean, it was really impressive, honestly, because the Bills all year were basically crowned as the best team in the NFL, as the most complete team offensively, defensively. I was even saying that all year long, and then the Bengals just shut everyone up with just an incredible beatdown. You are right. Patrick Mahomes still is Patrick Mahomes, and it's very, very hazardous at any time to doubt him because he is an otherworldly presence on the football field.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah.
that the Patrick Mahomes we saw in the second half, or at the end of the first half and the second half, was not your normal Patrick Mahomes because that injury, that ankle is not well. It just isn't. No matter how much they tape it up, that is a serious injury. Maybe it'll be slightly better this week, but
Yeah.
he
And I mean,
still is not. He's still not going to be on the level that he needs to be to beat a hyped up Joe Burrow. That's my
yeah.
only thought.
And Mahomes relies on scrambling the pocket to make those crazy sidearm throws or across the field, over the shoulder throws. I mean, he needs to scramble, move around the pocket a little bit. When you have Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard, who are very underrated, in my opinion, on the Bengals defensive line, when they're rushing the team, I mean, you got to be able to scramble a little bit. Will his ankle be a factor? It's without a doubt. Is he going to get some type of medical injection to help him out with the pain? Is he going to be taped up? Sure. But it's going to rely a lot on Kelsey getting open, Pacheco running the ball, doing his job. I mean, it's going to be textbook football if they want to win this game. Their defense is more complete than the Bengals. But again, you have
A
to
little
look.
bit, but the Bengals defense is still pretty good.
Exactly. They only allowed 10 points against the Josh Allen and the Bills, and Josh Allen didn't even throw for one touchdown. That was just one rushing touchdown that occurred in that game. So I mean, listen, Arrowhead's gonna be rocking. 6:30 p.m. We already know who the NFC champion is. Burrow versus Mahomes. I love both these quarterbacks so much. One's only 25, one's 26. For Burrow to win this game, go 4-0 against Mahomes, go to the Super Bowl again when nobody thought they were going last year, and he's repeating that. I mean, that would be so impressive. But to see Mahomes get back to that stage, my personal take is whoever wins this game wins the Super Bowl. As much as I want to say 49ers or how powerful the Eagles are, these guys just have been here before. They are very calm and they know
So
how to
who are
get
you
the.
taking? Who are you taking in this game?
Who I'm taking is the Bengals. I know
Okay.
it's a shock. They are favored. However, the line did start at the Chiefs. The Chiefs were favored originally by 2 or 3 in this one. Now it's the Bengals -1, as you said. I have the 49ers and the other one slightly. And they're my underdogs. The Bengals, since they're favored now, technically they're not underdogs. But Patrick Mahomes, first time in his career, that he is a home playoff underdog, which is pretty disrespectful to Patrick Mahomes. And he's been here. He's ready for this game. And as much as his ankle hurts, this momentum and this energy is just going to carry him.
I don't know. I mean, I agree that, on normal circumstances, you'd be right. But when he is injured like this, and they gave him the benefit of the doubt that they even favored him coming out the gate, and then it was Vegas that ended up moving the line. Once it was set, the line moved. So it wasn't like they would set the line at a disrespectful place. And I have to agree, the Bengals. I think the Bengals win this. I think ends up being a Bengals Eagles Super Bowl, which I think will be one of the best Super Bowls we've seen in a long time. And I think it's going to be a hell of a show.
Yeah,
Hell
I
of a
mean,
show.
you have to remember last year when Burrow was in the Super Bowl, I mean, it was 4th and 1, and he tried to throw it to Samaje Perine. It was short. That ended the game. Rams won the Super Bowl. Listen, I think Burrow could have even won that Super Bowl. Would have been
He could
great.
have. He
But
definitely could have.
let me give you an interesting stat line here. So Burrow has played Mahomes 3 times, right? But the Chiefs have led every game they've played by at least 7. First game, 18 points they led by, 14, then 7. The Chiefs have never trailed entering the fourth quarter. They have trailed for an average of only 7 minutes in each second half of these 3 games. Yet Joe Burrow has came on top every single time. But can he do it again?
Well, that's why they call him Joe Cool. The man is cool under pressure. He's ready to go. When the other guys fold, Joe Cool stays in the cut and ends up winning it. So I think that's just a testament to Joe Burrow as an athlete.
Yeah, listen, you can give Mahomes maybe the MVP, but Burrow doesn't care. If Burrow gets that Super Bowl, that's all that matters to him.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Uh, Great episode. Great to have you on again, Anthony. We're going to make sure to be doing more of this. Looking forward to this weekend, but sadly, we only have 3 more football games until
Sad.
over for the fall. I'm sad. I know you're sad,
Hey,
but what can you do?
let's enjoy it.
We got to enjoy it. All right. Thank you all for watching and or listening. Please subscribe on YouTube and our podcast, Ice Cold Sports, on our socials at Ice Cold SPRTS, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. My socials at Tommy S. Gahan on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and go to icecoldsports.com. And for you,
Yeah, don't be afraid to follow me on Instagram. It's Pitre, APITRE_22. That's on Instagram, as well as we're on YouTube, Stadium Life 99 at Stadium Life 99. Cover some of the best games in football and collegiate football or professional. I did get to watch Mahomes versus the Bucks earlier this season. That was a great game. Listen, all these games are gonna be great. Let's be excited. It's championship weekend, as I call it. Today is Championship Wednesday. We're excited.
let's get it going. All right, folks, thank you all for watching. I'm Tom again. That's Anthony Pitre, and this has been Ice Cold Sports. See you guys.
That's a wrap.